one of the things I want to say to the brother is that, fine, you gotta let that go, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let that go. Whether it's a therapy, doing some work on yourself, because what I notice is that the brothers carrying on too much baggage, and the baggage that they're carrying on is now not allowing them to live their life to the highest level that they can. Not only is it impacting them their personal life, it's also impacting their relationships with others, whether it be another woman or their children, because that anger and disdain they have towards their mother comes up in different ways, and they can't see people on a certain heights because they're viewing everyone through the lens of their relationship with their mother. Take back control. Stop letting algorithms decide your news. Get uncensored history and real knowledge to strengthen your mind, body, and spirit. Watch ad-free content now at ineverknewtv.com preview.
Well, let me hear you say mountain, mountain, mountain.
Fight what you're saying.
Yes, Autarchii. Life is the greatest. We give thanks, you know. And I want to tell the people them about the 420 event at Ital Kitchen. The Ballad and the Dread alongside Ital Kitchen and the Vital Shop presents the 420 event, you know. $42 to enter and 420. Starting at 420, you have the vegan buffet included, a whole host of things included, so the people them can come out and come Autarchii same way, you know. In Brooklyn, that is 1032 Union Street.
And remember, the Griggs brothers will be on the 1 and 2. Fight, what reason about today?
Today we're reasoning about the whole concept of mom wounds and the way how it impacts a lot of men in life. It affects them in their different relationships and things of that nature. But before we even dive into the reasoning, a lot of people might not be familiar with the terminology mom wounds. So I really want to read the definition to the people them, so make sure so we're on the same page. So it said, the mother wound refers to the emotional and psychological impact of a lack of sufficient love, support, or emotional connection from a mother figure, potentially leading to difficulties in relationship and self-esteem. So there's a lot of angles where we can really approach this thing from, but we feel like say approaching it from the concept of a man and the outcome of relationships is really the best way, because lot of time we see certain male figures who act up in a certain different ways, and there are certain different things that trigger certain behaviors within the male, and that need to be discussed. And I feel like this is definitely the root cause a lot of them issues that, you know.
No, serious thing. Before we start fight, we know this applies to women also, right? Because a lot of women have issues with their mother, right? But we're not speaking about we're speaking about the brothers. And what I've learned over time after speaking to so many men and observing is that the men who the roughest with the women fire and deal with the women wicked, they got an issue with their mother. Yeah. I've yet to, especially when it comes to like what you want to call like womanizers and that, they got a tricky situation with their mom. And I think there's a lot of criticism on brothers in regards to how they conduct themselves, but we don't acknowledge the root cause of it. In regards to the mothers, I really observed this. I've always observed this, and I give thanks for the teaching because it helped me learn so much about people. I really saw how some of the mothers spoke to their children. And I know there's numerous reasons for it. Far we speak about that a lot of the women too, unfortunately, have to fend for themselves. They're on one income, no other form of support. Maybe it's one child, maybe it's numerous children. Just too much stress and too much pressure that doesn't really allow them to act in what we would call a traditional feminine way to provide that nurture, that comfort, that guidance, you know. But because of that, how they speak to the children and how they deal to the children has a very negative impact on the boys. I've seen some women say some terrible things to their children that one could argue was uncalled for, and you could tell that it was done out of frustration and anger. Unfortunately, the child doesn't know that. They internalize these things, and the behavior becomes so repetitive. And not only that, it's kind of off tilt in the sense that it's not even a balance of there's that type of behavior, then there's another type of behavior to balance it out. Majority of that behavior is a negative thing. And when they grow up now, they have a negative view of women, and that leads them to behave in a way that's not conducive for themselves, their partner, or society.
You know, a real talk, because we can't really delve around the fact that most youths automatically when most youths think of them mother, them think about the concept of that nurturing aspect, getting that love, that more softness. And then it's like a lot of the youths them now looking forward to this softness, but they can't see the softness coming and trying to internalize that in their mind. They don't really have an answer for that. So you realize it's a whole bunch of acting out. And I feel like that's why we tend to stress the concept of two parent households so much and with the importance of that same way, because you see the moment a male figure is missing out of the life of a young male and the mother have to take that place, it's not a natural type of testosterone that can handle that type of development when it comes to a young male. So that internalize a whole heap of things now in the young male, and the young male start to reject certain concept or start to build certain type of illusions in the mind, and these illusions don't really exist. So you see, when these illusions don't exist now, then it comes into play. After illusion comes into play, expectations, and that expectations now kind of send them the wrong way and make them start react to certain things. I feel like that is where a lot of people don't talk about enough,
I'm glad you brought up that term illusion, because unfortunately, too many times people, and I apologize for the cough if I am getting over thing. People take their personal experience and just use that as the absolute of everyone. You know how it goes. You're online. If someone has a bad relationship with a lady, all of a sudden all women are like this. In this context, someone has a bad relationship with their mother, and they put all women in the bubble. One of the things I want to say to the brother is that, fine, you gotta let that go, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let that go. Whether it's a therapy, doing some work on yourself, because what I notice is that the brother's carrying on too much baggage, and the baggage that they're carrying on is now not allowing them to live their life to the highest level that they can. Not only is it impacting them, their personal life, it's also impacting their relationships with others, whether it be another woman or their children, because that anger and disdain they have towards their mother comes up in different ways, and they can't see people on a certain heights because they're viewing everyone through the lens of their relationship with their mother.
I think we talk about this topic. We have to talk about it from two scope too, because I think the opposite is also true, where there's a major impact on a lot of males when it comes to the mother being like too overprotective, doing everything for a male. So it's that it leads to that expectation where your mother have to spread your bed, your mother have to cook your food for you, your mother have to be the one with to pack your bag, your mother have to do all of these different things now. So when you know in turn now have your woman or your family, if you don't see them same particular traits there being carried out all the time now, for you live that ultimate luxury life without any form of responsibilities within a particular space, it then lead to that ripple effect. And I feel like it's the same effect now. So it's not, you in turn, you will love your mother, based off of your perception, but you in turn now start to have this hatred towards any woman where don't portray these type of characteristics to make you remain so contented and naive within your space. So I feel like that is the next piece where catch a whole heap of meals where them do overstand. Not saying that there are certain traits where, of course, if you are looking for a woman, or that's fine, because cleanliness is the basis of everything, and a woman being proactive and balancing those different roles within the household. But I feel like for a lot of males, it's just a one-sided thing to see them, where them kind of see this as the ultimate, and if it's not all of these ultimates, then it's nothing at all, because my mother used to do this, or my mother used to make me feel so contented in just relaxing, getting up out of bed at this time, and every single thing was already done for me. So what's your problem with tackling all of these tasks when my mother used to do this? Is that type of behavior we kind of see from a whole heap of males out there,
No, a serious thing, Far. And I want to ask you, man, like with all the stuff online, I don't want to say junk, I don't want to disrespect what people do, but all the stuff online, do you think there's a growing number of men that hate women?
Well, it depends on the circle. It's kind of a question that depends on the circles we are around to, You realize that in certain circles there's a different view, where In certain progressive circles, I would have said no, because most of the man them already overstand said them can take care of themselves, and them a look for a woman who can help them balance certain responsibilities and progress in a life from in a positive direction. But then within certain circles and pockets of the circles, because I don't really want to broad brush everybody, we find say a lot of males tend to have this kind of war with the females and generalize certain characteristics of the females and kind of have certain these expectations. Some unrealistic expectations, some of them realistic, but it's the way and the angle that they approach it. It kind of seems like it'll lead back to some form of a mom woman in a sense, you know.
Yeah, because not only online, but some little sounds I've been hearing on the roof. I seem like more men have a disdain for women, and I just been observing that, and I wonder what they call it, misogyny. Yeah, I wonder it's not misogyny in the sense that a fear, like a fear or a power thing. Is like a just they don't like women.
And I feel like it's a I think I see honestly, I think the same effect that it would have from a male perspective is the same effect I really see it I take from a female perspective. There's this disdain on both end, but we see kind of an increase in a generally, and it's not something where and I like to tell you the truth, because it kind of leave a bitter taste in the mouth. No, and say a man I gonna need a woman and a woman I gonna need a man. You know the way they.
Because I've been wondering. Because at first I thought it was like just online, right? So it's just a small group of people, but they have a big platform. So I don't know if it's a sense of people internalizing these things and they're regurgitating it, or they really feel like that's how they really feel. Because just because a lot of people listen to something don't necessarily mean they deal with it like that, you know?
The culture brew it's a type of culture we seem fair brew, this hatred type of culture, and it's like if we can't put again, it's that lack of accountability within the spaces again, and I think the lack of accountability kind of trickle into this type of topic the same way where certain males don't really want to take accountability for them actions and vice versa, females likewise. So and then ones and ones have responsibility. So naturally when everybody neglect their responsibility, it come down to somebody have to get blame if he blame, and who is going to get the blame. So generally you find a lot of males blame the female for certain things and vice versa, females blame the male, and it's not really a good look.
And any brother here that has a mom wound, I highly recommend that you, as I stated before, go through the process of working on it or try to build a relationship with your mother. Now, some relationships can rebuild. Fire, it is what it is, You need some discernment to identify that's the case. But if it is potential there, we ask that you do it because that fire people got so much weight on them on a daily basis and don't understand how that kind of flop out your life. It's hard to progress with a lot of baggage on you. It's just too much weight. And it seemed like that weight, that hurt they have from the mother not supporting them or not giving them what they thought. Fire, you know what it is too? I hear this with the father. There's an ideal about a mother. There's an ideal about a father, right? And when a person doesn't meet that ideal for whatever circumstances, it's like the wrath of the child, And like you have to be mature enough to reflect and look at that situation from your parents' perspective, not justifying the behavior, but understanding the behavior, right? Accepting it for what it is. Because I think the next frustration is you're still trying to look for something different off of something that already occurred, fire. Whether 15, 20, or 30 years. And I guess acceptance would tie into accountability to a certain aspect, like just accepting what it is. It's an effed up situation to deal with you right. What are we going to do from here? Because what I learned, fire, is that not all, some people, they don't mature, but some of the parents that they acknowledge their wrongs, but the child won't allow them to right their wrongs. And the child is impeding that relationship due to the anger that they have. And the parent gets turned off and just kicks back. Not all.
Wave it over them head.
And I know it'll take you being a bigger person. I know it'll take you letting go of the anger. It's fire. People like holding on to the anger, yo. Don't get it twisted. They love holding on to that anger, you know. And as I said, every relationship is not rebuildable, if that's even a word. But if it is, you need to work. But regardless if it could build or rebuild, you yourself need to release and heal from that situation so you can move on with your life.
Yeah, again, you see the expectation perspective, and I feel like when it comes to most male, you know why this topic becomes so dreadful, because one, most males don't really have a, what I say now, a medium to express the type of thoughts, the emotional thoughts, to really flow through them head. So not having that now, and then knowing that the source that they would hope to have that emotional connection with from a baby stage coming up until they mature, would naturally be their mothers and stuff like that. So because they don't have that, and then they still have a think think forward when it comes to probably a family, if it's a progressive man for deal with a family, or if it's an unprogressive man for think about a tough imagery, we have to maintain. Now tapping into that emotional type of trauma is one of the hardest things to do, because how you're going to approach it, what you're going to do, what is the first step that you take, you understand? And then if you even acknowledge that these things were bothering you, who will listen? Who will be that ultimate person for acknowledge that this is a real thing? Because most people might think that it's probably not that serious, but then it's something that shapes your whole characteristics and your whole well-being. So isn't it the most serious matter that you can really come across? So it's really things like that where I feel like hinder the whole concept. A lot of the brothers them really letting go. But I think that the first step is just acknowledging that these things really exist, and once we acknowledge that these things exist, is really how we go about it and kind of strive forward, and you can maintain that manly image, that will sturdy image, while addressing some of these particular traumas from that internal scope, and then you will find a solution within itself to make it really feel more at ease and go forward. Because every youth yearn for the love of a mother and father, but when we think about the concept of a mother being towards a male figure, we realize that that's where the softness come into place now. And if you don't get that softness that you were yearning for, and that particular love and care and attention that you were yearning for from a mother, then it naturally affect you, and you have to just live with the fact that it's gonna affect you. But it's just how you go about solving that problem.
Fire, you think, well, I want to ask you this. Do you think men know something is wrong and is pride getting in the way? I personally feel that every man, as long as he's not like fully mentally ill, he knows something's a little off. But I think that pride and denial, because with men, that vulnerability to ask for help, also to acknowledge that you need help, is a barrier that most men don't cross. Fire, and it leave them in a little situation. That seems like a rough thing to cross, because you're socialized to never ask for help. You're socialized to never show that you need help. And it's to the point where you're lying to yourself that you don't. It's not even, I understand pretending for others, but now it's so bad that you pretend to yourself.
Yeah, and of course, most of the ones them know, of course, yes. But again, is that acknowledgement. You can't really acknowledge that too, and who in your circle will understand how to approach even a thing like that too, and that make it even more weird and spookier to you as a manly figure, to know that you have these type of thoughts, and might seem so simple, but yet still it might shake how people even look at you too, because the man might feel like, yo, you're a big man now, grow up. That's not supposed to affect you now as a big man. And just the fact, just off of that basis alone, is like it kind of it make the pride come into place. Oh yeah, someone's a big man for true. This is not even that drastic of a matter. Then so many years pass, and this thing affect you so more, and you realize that you don't see the correlation between your relationships that you have and this particular issue. But then when you stop for a minute and take a second, you say, yo, say there's actually a correlation to this whole thing. And it's just that. It's just that.
I'm glad you brought up that point, because as I've matured and gotten older, I spent a lot of time reflecting on the environment that I grew up in and the people I'm around, specifically the older people, old heads, right? And like, so we spoke about toxic culture, but fire toxic culture kind of toxic, yo, because the stuff they would disregard that was so detrimental, right? And then, like, there was no room to acknowledge any pain or any hurt or anything. There was no space for it. And anyone who did that was seen as weak. And it was just like it's like a cancer that kept growing in regards to rage and misconduct because nothing was being dealt with. Because I told you about fire, you've been around violence, and I've been around violence, and like when you sit back and see certain violent acts, right, and you analyze it, there's no justification for this level of violence for what was done and what was said. Why would a man do that to another person? What is going through this man's head to do that to another person for what they did?
Just empty rage, man. Cause if remember said enough time, and just
Right.
understand the rage them gonna must stem from somewhere too, you know. Fair. And sometimes we don't really acknowledge where the rage them come from, you know. But enough time if we really step back and look and we say, okay, yo, this spot, and there's different types of rage too. So it's not even like it's a general rage alone. A lot of these rage realize it's just a matter of how we feeling at the moment, and it's not even connected to the situation either. So these definitely come into play when it comes to the rage that most man portray to because I'm angry and why I'm really angry. Why I'm really angry at.
And the reason I brought it up because the environment supports that rage. They encourage that rage and they praise that rage. The more outlandish, the bigger the outburst, the more violent, the more praise. That's the wild part. And if it's a brother in that environment, we encourage you to, you're probably in that environment deep, but you need to look for help outside that environment. I don't think it'd be realistic to look for help in that environment unless you had a unique person in there you could reason with and they demonstrated they could give you that strength, you know. But you definitely need to look for that help from somewhere because the things bothering you definitely need to healing. Check it. My therapist, she said some wild stuff one time, fire. Listen, I tell you the first time I was on the first session I had, fire, this lady asked me one question. I cried for like 30 minutes, bro. Lady asked me one question. No, serious thing. It's like she just asked the right question that opened up the Pandora box. But here go the joke. She told me she used to give me like homework at the end of the sessions till the next one, right? She said you gotta find out who driving your ship because you're not driving your ship or car, one of those. I think she swore she said ship or boat. She said you gotta find out who driving your boat because you're not driving your boat. So I had to get through a layer of shit to see who was driving my boat. Then when I found out it was a little ass hurt kid driving my boat, far right, a grown A man. I'm serious thing I'm telling you. Little ass hurt kid was driving a grown man's boat. And I had to go talk to the little kid to tell the little kid everything was all right. Yeah. That's what the lady told me to do. Yeah.
No joke and dead about it for you. Sometimes I just facing certain little things, and these little things that we face realize over time the results and we see the trajectory start to change. And then now we realize that we can't overlook certain thoughts in our mind and certain feelings in ourselves, same way as a man. Because say most man no overstand say is a meditation drive everything, You see what in a meditation as a man, it drive everything for you because when you're upset as a man, your meditation drive it. When you're happy as a man, it's a meditation drive it. And see once you're a man with a leadership prowess or any type of personality where have a leadership, even a sense of leadership about it, you realize that any action where you feel or any action where you carry out, you're somebody who I go really look up to that fire and it can affect multiple people. So in yourself, you have to really sit down and think about that too. So simple little things like these, it's worth acknowledging fire.
No, serious thing. And the reason I gave that example of my experience is because so many brothers out here fighting like driving their ship. You gotta find out who driving that ship. I'm telling you, fire, and it's liberating, along with I think people don't understand forgiveness too, right? because I think people are like looking for retribution, hold on to something and all this fire. Listen, especially those with issue with your parents. Some people got some crazy situations that's just out there. I ain't talking about no extreme situation. I'm just talking about your average little conflict with your parents. Let them be, man. Let them be. It has consumed enough of your life. It has consumed enough of your bandwidth. It has consumed enough of your space. It has influenced behaviors that have been detrimental to you. Let them be and let them go.
You know, the concept of a parent as a superhero is a really spike enough of them thing at you know. It's like most people when I think of them parents, they don't really see a human being in front of them too. So I feel like that kind of play a role in it. And then you know, within across various cultures, as Mother's Day can tell you versus Father's Day, the superhero more coming to be mama. Yeah. So because of the mother being the superhero in the picture within the mind, it's almost like that forgiveness and just letting go and let things be is the hardest for a lot of people due to that culture or the uplifting of the parent in that superhero fashion. It take them away from their whole persona because they're saying, no, this is not just anybody. This is your mother, this is your father, but not realizing that your mother and your father, they're just human beings who make mistake, human beings who do good, human beings who do bad. There's no difference between them within the context of being a human being, not because they're your parent or they brought you to earth. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that ideal fight, and maybe that's why it hurts even more because they have this false expectation of the mother.
Yes, sir.
So when things go down, now it hit them more, not acknowledging the. Listen, Fayed, you got to sit back and just look at your parent situation, what they were going through, socially, relationship wise, economically, mentally, right? And I'm not justifying anything, Fayed. Just give you a better understanding. Say, hey, you know, it is what it is. But the whole thing is that I'm really want the brothers to know is that at what point do you take control back of your life and stop using that as a crutch for your behaviors that's been detrimental to you and others? That's the whole point. Because for some, it's just a cop out.
And most man overstand them powers too, you know, for like you see this whole reassurance where you can get giving a reassurance is not only to your wife, you know. And I want to know if most man overstand that, you know. It's not just a sexual thing, you know, at all, you know. It's more of a mental thing and a energy and presence type of thing. So there's assurance that you can give to the opposite sex due to your presence. You see me? I say if you have a daughter, there's an assurance where you can get to your daughter by knowing say, oh, yeah, certain lessons we are going to instill in her, and it's a militants where in you make your daughter have a respect what you are said to her, and she say is an action man. Same as your wife. Your wife as she say is an action man, and from she say is an action man, she respect where you said to her and understand that you're not just saying this just to say it or sound smart. Here's a man where deal with actions. So you really have said this because you want a certain change. Same way you deal with the mother too. If you deal with the mother too, you have certain reassurance and you can even bring across that soft side of she to where you did even yearn for just to know so she knows say, yo, this is the product that come from me. I never really fulfill all of these things the way you're supposed to fulfill it. But nonetheless, a son come out who come have a militancy and can set the precedent. And I feel like them thing that you have to know, so yo, you can be a leader in all aspect. You can really see yourself as a child in that scope and say you reach 30, 40, 50, 60, whichever age. And you feel like say you're still just a child. And in the grand scheme of thing, you're your parents' child, but right now you're an adult, and being an adult means say you have to be decisive. You have to make decisions that can impact your life and not just your life, the life of your family to see me.
No, serious thing, fire. And last thing I want to say is that that acceptance. Like I think that too, you see this apology thing. Apologizing is a skill set that most people have because the apology correlates with behavior sometimes, you know.
To the reason if I want would I love for all the reason upon the concept of apology by itself though.
No,
I
we're gonna
swear.
sway that topic because I think people are looking for like some apology, like on some Lifetime movie. And I understand if people just don't have that ability to express that, whether verbally or they don't have the ability to change that action that hurts you. That's where your wisdom and discernment needs to come in and just say, hey, fight, that's how they roll. You have to make a decision to say, hey, can I even deal with this? Should I keep a distance? But the main thing is to let go of that anger, let go of that pain, fire, because the beautiful experiences you have in life, you're not experiencing because it's like what they say in physics, fire, two things can't be in the same, what they say? Two things can't be in the same place at the same time or something.
Oh yeah. That some of the physics. Sure, my figures.
And occupy the same place at the same time, I believe. Anyone knows it better, put in the chat. But the thing is, I can speak from personal experience, and I'm not a therapist, fire. So I just want to be clear. So I'm not no doctor, but I do have experience. When my meditation is off, fire, it's off. Ain't nothing else coming in there. My meditation good is good. I've never had my brain split when my meditation's off and my meditation is good. You get what I'm saying? And like that anger and pain and all that, I don't have no space for love, fire. You just don't. Even love your own self. So that's the thing. You got I just brother man, you gotta figure out what type of life y'all want to live, yeah. We have to identify the pain that we have. We need to deal with them so we can move on and be the best be the best brothers we can be for ourselves and for the world,
April 20, 420. Joyful vibration at 1032 Union Street, Ital Kitchen. One of them come through. Starts 4:20 p.m. Price $42. Include a vegan buffet for everyone. The Ballad and the Dread alongside the Vital Shop and Ital Kitchen. Music will be running by the Kriegs Brothers. So one of them come through and all our vibes and all our meditation. Literally, and pun intended.